Welcome to the presentation on driving ESG and compliance at Mutares. My name is Verena Gessner. I'm the ESG Manager at Mutares, and I will be introducing the topic of ESG and how it is handled at the company. In the second part of the presentation, my colleague Lennart Bauernfeind will be introducing the topic of compliance. So let's get started. Over 2 years ago, we have identified material sustainability risks and opportunities for Mutares, together with the Mutares management, Mutares employees, and our stakeholders. For these material topics identified, we have set us ESG goals over all pillars: environment, social, and governance. Let me introduce them to you. Within the environmental pillar, it is of great importance for our portfolio companies active in the 4 segments: automotive and mobility, engineering and technology, food and retail, and goods and services, to increase the environmental and energy management systems. During the holding phase, we further introduced energy efficiency measures across the portfolio. This is of great importance for us with the current energy crisis and the ongoing energy transition. This naturally goes hand in hand with reducing greenhouse gas emissions. Therefore, we have set the goal of reducing 10% of each portfolio company until 2028. Within the social pillar, it is of great importance for the Mutares Group to establish and maintain a zero-accident safety culture. For this, we are striving to increase occupational health and safety management systems. Further, we want to increase the gender diversity, not only within the Mutares holding, but also across the whole portfolio and all functions. Further, we want to drive corporate social responsibility initiatives. In the areas that we operate, it is of great importance for us that we give back to the communities that are present. Therefore, Mutares has been donating financial support to the Children's Hospice of Munich for over 3 years now. Within the governance pillar of ESG, we have set the goal to establish and maintain a compliance management system across the portfolio and introduce a supplier and business partner code of conduct, as well as a code of conduct across the portfolio. To achieve these goals, we need a group-wide integration of ESG practices and reporting, and this is what we've been working on over the past 3 years. At Mutares, we integrate ESG at every part of the investment lifecycle, which goes from deal sourcing to due diligence to the holding phase and the exit. In the deal sourcing, it is of great importance for us to exclude these industries which do not have the same morals as we do. In the due diligence phase, we actively identify, assess, and mitigate ESG risks and opportunities of all potential acquisitions. And this serves as a first evaluation of the ESG status quo of a potential portfolio company. And once introduced into the portfolio, we actively work on the identified gaps in the area of ESG. This we are doing in the monitoring and engagement phase, where ongoing over all the holding years, we identify ESG risks and opportunities and monitor and report them. For the portfolio companies, we actively engage and support on-site by our Mutares experts. Once a company is ready for exit, all regulatory ESG requirements will have been implemented, and the ESG performance of the portfolio company is measurable and will show an increase over the holding phase. Within this investment lifecycle, I would like to put a spotlight on the monitoring and engagement phase, which is of great importance to us, and there within the energy efficiency. In 2022, we've implemented many energy efficiency programs and initiatives across the portfolio, from CHP plans to LED lighting and energy efficient heating. In 2023, this will result in a reduction of over 3,000 tons of CO2 equivalent emissions for the Mutares Group. Thanks for your attention. I will be handing over now to my colleague, Lennart Bauernfeind, who will be presenting the compliance part of this presentation.
Thank you, Verena. My name is Lennart. I'm the compliance officer at Mutares, and I will now guide you through a little bit of the compliance topics that we do at Mutares. So when it comes to the governance part of ESG and compliance in particular, we tailor the expectations towards our portfolio companies according to the 4 steps in our portfolio lifecycle. That means that we already look at the compliance-related situation at potential targets for an acquisition. Then after closing, and despite the significant financial pressure our portfolio companies typically face, we include compliance-related activities as mandatory part of the restructuring process. During this phase, the focus is on the overall setup of the most important compliance policies and procedures, like the code of conduct for business partners and suppliers, and a whistleblower system. In realignment phase, as during optimization, the local management remains ultimately responsible for compliance topics in their business dealings. Depending on the development of a particular portfolio company, there might be a need for updates and changes in the compliance framework during that phase. And then finally, when a portfolio company enters into the harvesting phase of the life cycle, the management needs to develop the compliance management system to a stage where a potential new owner can be presented with robust documentation showing the compliance-related efforts we take. Since the compliance program can never be one size fits all, we developed a high-level risk assessment for our portfolio companies that allows us to scale our compliance-related efforts according to the compliance risk we see in a specific portfolio company, and therefore focus our resources where it is most needed. Only a few requirements, like the implementation of a code of conduct, relate to all portfolio companies, irrespective from the risk level we assessed. And then finally, what you can see here on that slide is a short breakdown of the responsibilities for compliance topics in the Mutares group. As I already mentioned, the ultimate responsibility to make sure of compliant business conduct lies with the management of the portfolio companies. The Mutares Compliance Office, however, supports local management in the definition of the required activities and by facilitating certain limited central services. In addition, the Mutares operations teams at a portfolio company provide further hands-on support, especially during the realignment phase. To show all these efforts, we already signed to the UN Global Compact in 2021. Thank you for your attention.